I'm Anna, 29 years old.
Follow us at
On that particular day,
revengefiles.com.
the universe seemed to have a personal vendetta against me. It all started in the morning, when I spilled a hot cup of coffee on the pristine white shirt I had carefully ironed for an important presentation. It felt like an omen for a day full of annoyances. At the office, my presentation with a major client turned into a disaster. The client, a middle-aged man with an ego bigger than the building we were in, constantly interrupted, asked irrelevant questions, and showed contempt for every idea I had spent weeks preparing. At the end of the meeting, he concluded that my proposal lacked innovation, a cliché and meaningless comment. My boss, instead of defending his employee, just nodded profusely and promised to reevaluate. The feeling of being disrespected and unrecognized left me incredibly angry and helpless. On the way home, I was stuck in traffic for an hour due to a minor accident. The blaring horns, the stuffy air, and the helplessness of inching along gave me a splitting headache. When I got to my apartment complex, I discovered the elevator was under maintenance. I had to drag myself up 7 flights of stairs with a heavy handbag and an even heavier mood. All day, I felt like an overinflated balloon, ready to pop with just a little more pressure. I just wanted a quiet evening, a simple meal, and a glass of wine to forget all my troubles. That's why I decided to stop by the local grocery store a few blocks from my house, just to buy some pasta, a jar of tomato sauce, and a bottle of wine. Follow us at revengefiles.com. The grocery store at rush hour is always crowded and noisy. Bright fluorescent lights shone down from the ceiling, cheesy background music played from crackly speakers, and there was the clatter of shopping carts and the sound of crying children. All those sounds were like small needles pricking at my already frayed nerves. I tried to move as quickly as possible, weaving through meandering shoppers, grabbing what I needed, and heading straight for the checkout counter. I just wanted to complete this final task and return to the quiet of my apartment. Luckily, there was a fairly empty checkout line. Only one person was paying ahead of me. I got in line, holding the plastic shopping basket, silently counting down the seconds until I could go home. I could already picture myself sitting on the sofa, enjoying my dinner, and letting the fatigue of the long day melt away. The person in front finished paying. It was my turn. I breathed a sigh of relief, ready to step up. Just as I was about to place my basket on the counter, from somewhere, bam! A woman squeezed past me and cut straight to the front. She moved as fast as the wind, placing her 3 items on the checkout counter decisively. At first, I was going to let it go. Okay, maybe she was in a hurry. She only had 3 items. It probably wouldn't take long. I told myself to be generous, that a little yielding wouldn't hurt. I was going to let it slide. But then she turned back and looked at me. It wasn't a quick glance. You know the one, the scrutinizing kind of look, scanning from head to toe as if silently judging everything about you. Her eyes swept over my worn-out sneakers, simple jeans, somewhat wrinkled t-shirt, and stopped on my tired face. A slight, almost imperceptible smirk, but full of contempt. The look seemed to say that I was the one in the wrong, that my presence here was an annoyance. And in that very moment, something inside me snapped. All the pent-up frustration from a terrible day, the anger at the condescending client, the frustration from the traffic jam, the fatigue from climbing the stairs at all, found a target to explode upon. My intrusive thoughts? It was their time to shine. I didn't say a word. I silently took another step, getting very close to the woman. And then, I simply let go. The shopping basket fell straight down, landing right on the instep of her foot. It wasn't really heavy, just a box of pasta, a jar of sauce, and a bottle of wine. But the soft thud it made on impact? Oh, how satisfying it was. It was the sound of resistance, the sound of reclaiming a little bit of justice on a day full of injustice. The woman flinched, and I swear I heard her let out a cry of pain. But the best part was yet to come. I looked her straight in the eye, gave a slight smile, and said in a voice full of innocence, "Oh, sorry about that." Then, as if nothing had happened, I bent down, picked up my basket, and placed my items on the checkout counter, right next to hers. I had reclaimed my spot. I mean, it was my turn. The cashier was a bit flustered but said nothing. The other woman shot me a death glare, but didn't dare make a scene. She quickly paid and left in a huff. As I walked out of the store, the anger and stress that had been clinging to me all day seemed to vanish. In its place was a sense of relief and a strange satisfaction. That small act, that accidental drop, had become an unexpected form of therapy. It wasn't a violent or malicious act. It was just a proportionate response to rudeness, a reminder that not everyone will silently accept other people's thoughtlessness. It was an act of reclaiming control, even if just for a brief moment at a supermarket checkout counter.
Follow us at revengefiles.com.
That evening, I enjoyed my dinner in a completely different mood. The difficult client, the stressful job, the day's annoyances all seemed small and insignificant. Sometimes you don't need to do big things to feel better. Sometimes all you need is a very satisfying thud and an insincere apology.